Hi, hello. Good morning or good evening, everyone. If you could just please write on the chat, oh, hello. So that does that mean that you can hear us and see us well? Hello, Elżbieta. Hello, Moni. Hello, Maria. Hello, everyone. That may be a sort of surprise because that was supposed to be a answer and question session with Michał and Michał, who are visible here on the display, but there's also me, so Kinga. Just to give you a few words of introduction. Oh, we have Oregon here. Hello. Missouri, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, Florida. There's so much snow in Poland, in Krakow. I don't know if you heard about it, but we are like, I don't know, when was the last time we had so much snow in Krakow, in Poland, and we'll hope that it will last till Christmas at least. Connecticut, Pittsburgh. Hello, hello, everyone. It's really nice to have you all here with such a number. Oh, Moni says that she's loving the snow. We do as well, especially in beautiful Polish mountains. You know, when you're skiing or snowboarding or having the walks through the snowy mountains. That's the nicest part of the Polish winter. It's very, very nice to have you all here. So we have 6 p.m. at least Polish time, so Central European time on the clock. Again, my name is Kinga Urbańska, and I would like to invite you for this webinar officially, and would like to start it. This answers and questions webinar. We will focus on 2 different, but also very connected subjects. So Polish genealogy, so the history connected with Polish ancestry, and the citizenship and passport matters, right? So these will be 2 sections of the questions that we would like to answer from our side. Of course, it may happen that some of the questions will be too detailed, and it would be required to spend a little bit more time to answer these questions, and we'll be more than happy to answer them through emails, for example, or some maybe individual consultations. So I will just write a proper contact information on the chat here. But as for now, I think we can slowly start. Just wanted to add that this webinar is being organized by Your Roots in Poland company, and we're dealing with Polish ancestry matters for almost 12 years now. So I think if you're looking for the answers as for this subject, you are in a good place. Today morning or evening. So I'm more than happy to introduce you to the best specialist on Polish genealogy and Polish citizenship matters that I ever met. And that's Michał Petrus and that's Michał Gierszon. And I think they will tell you a few words about themselves before we start the answer and questions session. Michał?
Michał Gierszon, would you like to start?
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Michał Gierszon. I am a project manager at our company. I deal with genealogical project. So I will be more than happy to answer any of your questions regarding Polish genealogy. So I would like to help you and describe how to start the adventure with Polish genealogy, where to look documents, what kind of documents you can use in your own private research. So feel free to ask any question, because as you know, I know that Polish genealogy is very challenging because Poland were divided into 3 countries. So if it all depends what kind of which part of Poland your ancestor came from. You need to know reading documents in Latin, in Russian, and German. So I am aware that this is very challenging, and I will be happy to answer your question.
Yeah, summing up, Michał Gershon really likes challenges, so we're waiting for your questions. Yeah. Thank you, Michał, and now Michał Petrus will tell a little bit about his scope.
I actually graduated history together with my friend up here, at least in my view, Michał Gershon. Yes. So I am also a history graduate, but I focused more on Polish citizenship over the years. I started dealing with those matters about 4 years ago, but already completed hundreds of cases, got a lot of experience in the matter, a lot of combinations, different combinations, because always case building is depending on what kind of sources you are using, what is your family history, of course, emigration history, and so on and so on. So yeah, I also do like challenges. Our works looks a little like detective work. Sometimes we have to uncover some facts. Sometimes we have to think a little how to build the case, how to put it in such a spotlight that the government basically cannot refuse the outcome. It is quite challenging to wait for the outcome because of the government's backlog, but overall it is very satisfying at the end to get this positive decision. So I will be very much looking forward to receiving your questions about citizenship and answering them, of course. If you fail to have your question answered here, asking I mentioned, you can also email us, and we will try to respond as soon as possible. I imagine there will be a lot of questions, but to respond as soon as possible as we can.
Thank you, Michał. Thank you for that short introduction. I think we can start the session now. It will last around 1 hour, and we will try to answer all of your questions as good as possible, as much in a detailed way as possible. So I think we can, now I will disappear, but I will be still here on the chat, and we can go to the question and answer section now.
I see the first question. Michał, if I may, because it has a citizenship within the question, so I feel called to the board. So basically, yes, he would be treated as first as citizen of Austria, then a stateless person, because as you probably know, Austria-Hungary ceased to exist in 1918. The Treaty of Versailles, which is a peace treaty that was signed after First World War, actually settled those matters and obligated the newly formed Polish state to adopt those citizens, those stateless people, to the Polish citizenship. So it was based on the Article 4 of Later Versailles Treaty that they were obligated to treat those people as Polish citizens. But we need a proof of that happening, and this is usually the most tricky part of this issue. As such, that we generally do not advise posting the pre-1918 or pre-1920. This is the year when the citizenship was introduced in Poland cases, as they are very difficult to prove that somebody was first a subject with a legal domicile of Austria, then reported to the Polish authorities to claim their Polish citizenship. The latter, the second part, is the most challenging one.
The second question for Michał.
Yeah, also me. I thought I will have a sip of water, but no. It's the second one also for me. The cost of obtaining Polish citizenship. So we rather have a flat fees, so to speak. The analysis is almost always, well, it's always free of charge. We do not charge anything to check your eligibility, to check your documents, whether they are sufficient for the procedure. Regarding the cost, I would say they mostly depend on whether you plan to apply on your own or with your family members. We also have to take in scope such expenses, additional expenses like marital registration in Poland. So, for example, if you are divorced, we might need to register your divorce in Poland as well. So, but all in all, we have a rather flat fee-based plan, and it starts from $1,300.
And the next one.
Yeah, so this is I predicted that most of the questions would be around this topic. So this is also why I elaborated with the first question. So generally speaking, I see you are already learned about this 1920 pre-1920 and after 1920 issue. It doesn't mean that you cannot apply. It just means that your applications will be significantly harder because, as I mentioned, you need first the proof of having a legal domicile in either of three partition empires. This is Austria-Hungary or Germany or Russia, and then some sort of proof that your ancestor claimed citizenship with the Polish authorities abroad. First of all, Polish consular files do not really go that far, at least for most of the consulates. For the files that were transferred already to the country, to Warsaw, some of those are stored in the Central Archive of Modern Records, but those collections are also not complete. So the best way to have your citizenship secured, even for these earlier emigrations, is to basically have your own documents from your own family archives. I call it the attic or the basement, where you perhaps have a neat little box with old passports or consular application or anything of sorts. So if you have any Polish document that you see that is Polish or do not understand, you can just go ahead and send it over to our mailbox and we will analyze it for you for free.
And it's a question for me. The documents from former province of Austria, so I mean Galicia, you can find in three different places. The first place is the state archives in Poland. Galicia covered the southern part of our country, so the most important archives keeping the documents from Austrian times are in Krakow, in Przemyśl, Rzeszów, Nowy Sącz. So this is the first place where you can search for documents. Generally, the state archives have the documents starting in 1890. If you would like to find the earlier documents, they may be kept in church archives, so in the parish archive. So in Poland, it is typical that, especially in the southern Poland, it's typical that the priests kept old records, sometimes even from 17th century, in their cancellery. So you need to call the priest and ask to visit the parish and check the records. And other kind of church office where you can find documents are diocesan archives. For example, we have diocesan archives in Tarnów, in Przemyśl, or in Krakow. So there are generally these three places: state archives, parish archives, and diocesan archives. And I think my response is connected also with the next question: where can I go to access archives? So we have a network of the state archive. There is no one place where there you can find the vital records from the whole Poland. It depends on what part of Poland your ancestor came. So if they came from our Polska area, there is the chance that you find documents in the Krakow archives, for example, or in Nowy Sącz. So there is network of the state and church archives. There is no one place.
Okay, question for me. Mother came in 1921, but came on her sister's passport. Oh, that's interesting. Changed back to her own name when applying for the US naturalization. So first of all, I would deconstruct the question into three parts. First of all, if she is noted in her sister's passport, that's still good. It's interesting for me because either you had your own adult passport or you were written as a child in your father's or mother's passport. I didn't really encounter a passport in which your siblings would be noted. Regarding the name change, we need a proof of every name change. This is sometimes also the tricky part because the name changes, especially in Jewish genealogies, are kind of informal for the most part. But if you have a change like from Piotr to Peter, which is basically the same name, just in different language, then we can explain it easily. If you have a surname change that is more challenging, we need a document, really any document, any legal document that can prove this is the same person or the name change happened. Fortunately, in the US naturalization paperwork, it is usually mentioned that somebody came to the country under this and this name and changed the name later after that. So this would be our proof that this is the same person. But in this case, I would be also wary about naturalization itself. This is quite a lengthy topic, but I will try to pack it immensely. So basically, before 1951, that is 1951, the naturalization or dual citizenship in general was prohibited for citizens of Poland, and males, that is fathers, uncles, brothers, and sons, were exempt from it by their military service, so they could still be naturalized and do not lose Polish citizenship, but women were not. So as women were not subject to the military draft, with them obtaining a foreign citizenship, such as US citizenship, they would lose their Polish citizenship in the process. This is all before 1951. After 1951, naturalization has no effect whatsoever. And let me reiterate, also for males that were able-bodied to serve in the Polish military, even in theory, because obviously there was no way for them to be drafted from across the pond. They were exempt from that. But for women, we have to be wary about naturalization before 1951.
Okay, what if you were Jewish? Where would those records kept? So we need to remember that Jewish people had two kinds of registration. It was civil registration determined by the government and ritual synagogal registration. And sadly, the synagogal documents didn't endure our times. So the Jewish vital records are kept in the state archives. And the documents younger than 100 years are kept in the civil registry offices, because it's a general rule in Poland that due to Polish data privacy law, the birth records younger than 100 years and marriage and death certificates younger than 80 years are still being kept in the local civil registry offices. You can do the research them personally, but you can apply to the civil registry office and ask them to issue you a certified copy of this document.
I guess this is a question for me. Father that was born in Warsaw in 1934, 1939 he fled Poland with his mother. He was in Russia, then displaced persons camp, and then emigrated to Palestine, Israel when he was a teenager. So far, I didn't bring much optimism to the table. This question I would also like to divide in parts. So first of all, for Warsaw, the challenge would be getting the historic documents if you do not have those, because as you could probably know, in Second World War, Warsaw was basically leveled to the ground by Nazi Germany, and not much records survived. Not many records survive the destruction of the city. So getting anything from Warsaw is very much challenging, as Michał could probably agree. Regarding the displaced persons period, I would treat it also with the Russian displacement. Fortunately, there are records for those people. They are held in Germany in a place called Bad Arolsen, and the database was created by international tracing services. They were in charge of connecting people that were displaced with their families, friends, and so on and so on. So you could get the Bad Arolsen files either directly from international tracing services that handled it, or in Poland you can get it also from Institute of National Remembrance. The other challenge would be the Israel thing. About 2 or 3 years ago, the interpretation of one document from Israel changed here in Poland, because if your ancestor naturalized, so obtained other citizenship than Polish one abroad before 1951, you need to prove that they didn't serve in the military of said country, other than Second World War service, of course. And when Israel formed, it gave citizenship to all Jews that came. It was Aliyah citizenship. So basically, they were expected to serve in the Israeli Defense Force. And getting the document from the IDF, proving that there was no military service whatsoever, was quite easy, I would say, those 3 or 4 years ago, or even before that. But then something changed. The IDF changed their layout of the document. They changed wording for some matter, and the Polish government didn't accept this new document. They said that it does not confirm that somebody wasn't a part of reserve force, because reserve force was also treated as part of the military. So first of all, I would advise focusing on getting those Polish proofs, and second of all, on getting the proper IDF statement, which is, from what I heard and seen, still possible, but I imagine requires a lot of negotiations with the IDF to get the old template.
Okay, next question is for me. If I'm looking for land records located in Russia-controlled lands in Wielkopolskie, where would be the best place to look if they exist? So the best place to start research of land records is State Archive. If you mean the part of Wielkopolskie area controlled by Russia, I think that documents may be in Kalisz State Archives or Łódź State Archives. But please note that some collections of the land records, even from the 19th century, may be still being kept in the court office, in the court archives, where the access is more challenging. Okay, next question regards PTG database. It gives your book picture number. Are there any other Polish website that I can see the actual records? Yes, in the mentioned database, you can find the references like year, book, picture number, and there are references to the database named GenBaza. In GenBaza, you can find the digital copies of the documents kept in the Pomeranian archives, so from Gdynia, from Gdańsk, from Pelplin, and others. And we will publish a link to this database in our chat.
Now, question for me. I took a look on this question in the chat window, so I'm prepared to answer it. So first of all, no indication that she became US citizen. This means that she probably kept her Polish citizenship. You must also be advised that sometimes obtaining of citizenship happened with marriage. In the US, at this period of time, I believe it wasn't so, but perhaps she married a citizen of another country, so I would still check whether she obtained any other than Polish citizenship before 1951. That could cause a loss of Polish citizenship. Regarding the daughter number one, that is, with her naturalization in 1940, she lost her Polish citizenship in the process because, as I mentioned, dual citizenship was not allowed up to 1951, and only males, men, were excluded by their ability to serve in the Polish military. Regarding daughter number two, as she was born in the US in 1920, she gained US citizenship by the virtue of birth in the territory of the country. So this is also treated as naturalization as any other method of obtaining citizenship. As such, she also lost her Polish citizenship when she turned 18 years old. However, there is a very recent decision from the Supreme Administrative Court in Poland that if citizenship of Poland and other country are obtained simultaneously, then women could still be treated as Polish citizens. But this is basically unknown waters. I do not want to say more about this issue currently, because we still have to double check it. We have to verify it on practice, on real case with the provincial office, because courts say something and government does something. It might be necessary for us to go with this practical case up to the courts again, and only then force the government to accept those cases. But yeah, this is something still to be checked. Yeah, so I believe this answers the question.
Is there an online site to check marriage certificates when residence is unknown? So if we don't know the name of the place of origin of our ancestor, no matter if it's birth, marriage, or death certificates, the research became more challenging. We have different strategies in such cases. The first step is checking the general databases like Geneteca, where you can find the indexes from vital records from the entire Poland. So there is a chance that the people who you are looking for may be listed in some other parish. The second strategy, the second way, is the more archival work. So if the people who get married came from, or one of them came from the other parish, in former Poland in 19th century and beginning of 20th century, they had to provide with attachment like baptist certificate. So there is a chance that in the collection of parish vital records, you can find the attachment saying where a bride or groom were was born. So usually we start from checking the databases, and if it's fail, we try to get some more documents. The last strategy is to blind searches. So we can check the marriage records or birth certificates from surrounding parishes. And the next question.
Okay, the question is about appearance before the Polish Consul, the thing that I've mentioned in the first question. Would this be a Polish Consul in Warsaw? Basically, the consular authorities are only present abroad. So there are no Polish consulates inside of Poland, and that was also the case back then. So yeah, this would be a Polish consul in Chicago, and you can call or write to Polish Consulate in Chicago and ask them about the state of their archival fonts or historic documents, whether they are well preserved or whether they can change if your ancestor appears in their own historic records. I think this is also for me. What documents are needed or helpful to get the process started? So first of all, we need a Polish proof. So this would be any historic Polish document that either provides information on citizenship of the ancestors or provides confirmation that they lived in Poland after 1920. Which was equivalent to being, a permanent domicile in Poland, which was equivalent to being a citizen back then. It is not the case right now, but back then it was. So you have the Polish proof, for example, voters list, population census, domicile list, military draft lists, tax property records sometimes, really anything from the administrative records. What I want to emphasize here that birth, marriage, and death records are not proof of citizenship because back then and still nowadays, you can be born, married, or die in Poland and not be Polish citizen because Poland follows rule of blood rather than rule of land. So in the US, you have rule of land, which grants citizenship on birth. And in Poland, you have rule of blood, which dictates that you inherit citizenship from your parents and your parents from their parents, and so on and so on. So this is the Polish proof. Then you have documents confirming unbroken lineage. So again, birth and marriage certificates, but not to prove citizenship, but to prove that so, for example, your Polish ancestor is your grandfather on your father's side, paternal grandfather. So you need a marriage certificate of your paternal grandparents. You need a birth certificate of your father. You need marriage certificate of your parents, and you need your own birth certificate. So you show the unbroken lineage from the ancestor to you. And then you have other non-Polish documents proving some facts that we need, that we might be required to prove before the authorities. So, for example, that your grandfather did not serve in the US military. So the letter from the National Archives stating that there was no such military service in case of your grandfather. The naturalization file, the name change file, if there were name changes. So the list of documents really is case relevant, case dependent, and we prepare it only after we know that we are going through with the application, and then we exactly know what will be required. Michał, I think you disappeared. Let's give Michał some time to rejoin the video and microphone. And right now I will be answering the yeah.
Oh, hello, I'm back. Apologize
yeah.
for some.
There was
issues.
one question for you, but I think we can go straight back to it in a while. I will just in the meantime answer this one question. What were? Oh, sorry. I remember the question, so I will answer very shortly. So the emigration in 1968, as we know, were emigrations that were forced politically. This was the next steps in government's persecution of the Jewish people back then. So when we get the passport file from the Institute of National Remembrance, and it says that your ancestor renounced citizenship or was forced to renounce citizenship by the government, it does not hold currently. So even if the file from this period that we know that people were basically forced into those renunciations and emigration, we can use the file even so that it states there was a renunciation. The government does not observe it as valid because we know the historic context.
Okay. And next question from Michał also, I think.
Didn't you want to answer this one about Prussian partition?
Yes. As for documents from Prussian partition, you can find in the state archives in Poznań, in state archives in Poznań, in Gniezno State Archive, Piła State Archive, Konin. So the general rule is the following: the documents created by former local or central governments, local or central authorities, you can find in the state archives. If you would like to get some church documents, you can then visit and analyze the resources of the church archives. And from my experience, there is a lot of documents from the Wielkopolska area, from the Prussian partition. So if you know the correct place of living when your ancestors stayed in the past, so there is the chance that documents like vital records or land records, in German called Grundbücher, preserved. Okay, and next question. Okay, about the sister of grandmother, if she stayed in Poland, if she stayed in Poland, you can of course try to find the vital records like marriage or death certificate. But if she emigrated with your great grandmother to the United States, then you need to review ancestry resources. I would recommend also checking family search. Of course, the Polish surnames, the Polish names were written in a different way. So maybe perhaps that's why you can't find anything. Please note that when you search for information about Polish ancestors in the US databases like Ancestry, please have in mind this different spelling. Because it can be very far from the original Polish spelling. And the other option maybe is that the sister of your great grandmother came to the US, in fact, but then she went back to Poland. So it was also typical from the emigrants. They came to the US for a few years and then came back to their hometowns in Poland. Okay.
Okay, so your great-grandparents immigrated from Russian partition in 1901. You have baptismal records, which are basically the birth records for those period, and marriage record. I am guessing it is very unlikely or impossible for me to pursue citizenship. I must confirm it will be very difficult because apart from the vital records that you have, you would also need a document from the Russian partitions confirming that they stayed in the area at least up till 1901, and they were legal residents. And then also you would need some proof that they reported to the Polish authorities for their confirmation. So yeah, sorry about that, but I have to confirm it at least in part.
Okay, this is question about the last will. Okay, the documents like the probate documents were registered by the local courts, and now the places where you can find these documents are the state archives again, and and the court archives. Sadly, still a lot of archival documentations, even from the beginning of 20th century, even from 19th century, is still being kept in the court archives, where the access is very, very limited. It is challenging to get the documents with no any additional regulations like proving the kinship. The first step should be to determine which county Wysoka belonged in the past, and next, using the Polish archival database named Szukaj w archiwach, you can try to locate where this court right for this country, which archives is kept, and then you need to order a query, because the probate documents, the archival probate documents, are not digitalized. So you need to visit the archives personally, or hire a researcher, or ask the archive to do the research for you.
Yeah, so we have an IDF statement here. If you are interested, you can email me and I will send you the template layout of the both old and new forms, but I guess you have the new form. But then you will have the old form to show the IDF and perhaps request it. I know this is not such a formal process, because you have basically to persuade them to issue you the old one. But yeah, fingers crossed, and if you need the template of the old form, please contact us. I will send you this.
I'm checking. Okay, it's a long long question. To be honest, it is very challenging to find in the Polish sources allowing to find information from 16th, for example, on 17th century. All depend all depend on the part of Poland, on the place, the village, the parish where your ancestors lived. But generally, I would recommend to checking other kind of documents established in the 18th century, like the court documents, or maybe the documents created closer to the 19th century, like the cadastre records. Okay, so I can answer only in this way. Okay, the next question: archive for Rostki and Usnik. To be honest, I don't know where Rostki and Usnik are located, but I think that the documents may be kept in the. You need to locate the documents on the map and see what voivodeship, so which province it is located today. And next, you can assume that the documents may be in the archives located in the closest bigger city. So in most cases, it would be the capital of the voivodeship.
I think the participant corrected it to Rostki, but still doesn't ring a bell for me.
Yes, this may be a stretch, but my grandfather came from Poland around 1930. Clan was Pułaski. Yes, it's possible to check the family connection. The first step is to analyze, to see the genealogical tree of Kazimierz Pułaski, because he was one of the hero of Polish history and well known among historians. So I think that his family tree should be easily it would be that you can find easily the family tree of Kazimierz Pułaski in the website. And the second step is to determine your Pułaski ancestor as far as possible. And then if you find some common, if you find the same parents or grandparents on some generation, so you can say that you are related to Kazimierz Pułaski. But theoretically, you need to do two genealogical projects. One dedicated to Kazimierz Pułaski and his ancestors and his descendants, and the second, you need to do your own genealogy very well as far as possible. Okay, I will be checking next question. Okay, if you find the records in Geneteca with additional remarks, yes, sometimes in Geneteca you can find an indexed information only, but in some cases you can find also the references to the digital copy, to the scan. But in the case you can't see the scan, so the only way is to visit the State Archive personally or hire some researcher who visits the archives and do the research for you, or you can contact the archives via email, for example. They know generally the archivist speaks English, so you can speak and you can write the archives and order copies if you know the correct file number, the year, the parish name. So it should be easy for them to find and send you the documents. Okay, I'm searching for another question.
I think we are up to date with the questions. Yeah.
PTG, Pomorskie Towarzystwo Genealogiczne, so it is a Pomeranian Genealogical Association, is a very good database for those people who had ancestors from former Pomerania, so from former German province of Pomerania on West Prussia. You can find there the indexed vital records from the parishes, from the civil registry offices, and also from the Lutheran parishes. So it is very helpful database for people having roots in Germany, in the provinces like West Prussia, like Pomerania, and even like province of Posen.
Yeah, this one was answered.
Yes.
Please feel free to ask any other questions. We still have some time.
Yes, our emails, I think you can find our emails in our website. Our company is Your Roots in Poland, based in Kraków, Poland. So please visit our websites and learn more about our services. And of course, I can see that Kinga published our general email on our chat. So if you have any more detailed question, feel free to ask and we try to help you. Oh yes, we can see our emails now. Yes, I think that this topic was mentioned that the vital records for Poznań area you can find in the state archives in Poznań. It was the capital of former province of Poznań, and we have the big state archives there, and the Poznań branches like the archive in Piła, the archive in Gniezno, and archive in Konin, although Konin was a part of Russian Poland, but also kept some documents from regarding the cities and villages located in German partition. And of course, church archives in Poznań, in Gniezno. You can also find some documents in Bydgoszcz state archives, generally in the almost in all archives located in the today's Western Poland, you can find that the source is very helpful for people seeking information about ancestors from this part of Poland partition. Okay, what is for family to have family Bibles in the Poland where they would have family right now? To be honest, it's very rare source. I mean that I didn't come across such this kind of documents in the archives. I know that in the Germany there were the sources named family book. Yes, it was kind of family book, Familienbuch in German, that were established in 1974. So each married couple, after they get married, they were given a Familienbuch from the civil registry officer, and then each document like birth or death certificate of their children were registered in this book. So I know that there were at least 2 copies of Familienbuch in the German Poland. One copy was in the family archives of each family, and the second copy was in the civil registry office. So now sometimes you can find this kind of books in the state archives, but most of the Familienbuch I saw came from the private people from the family archives. So they have luck that these books endured in the family archives. Do you know where records for Polish people repatriated from Poland after Second World War? Yes, people who were repatriated from the Ukraine to Poland were registered in the office named Państwowy Urząd Repatriacyjny. We can translate it as State Office of Repatriation, and it was an office that registered each people who were resettled from Western Ukraine, Western Belarus, Western Lithuania to Poland. And the documents of this office are kept in the state archives. But it is good news that documents endured our times, but the bad news is that there are no indexed. So in almost all cases, you need to visit the archives, order a book, and analyze page by page and search for information about your ancestors. I know that only one office were indexed by the genealogists from Wrocław, and it regards the Państwowy Urząd Repatriacyjny from Wrocław. So it is only one office that were indexed, but the other 15 or 16 offices were not indexed. So you need to visit archives and check personally in the reading hub. maybe I will also ask this question. In the Russian Poland, the first general census in Russia was established in 1897, so very late, comparing with, for example, Austria or Germany. But the sheets didn't endure our times, so you can't find the census sheets in the Polish archives. But in the late 19th century, each gmina, so the lowest level of the government authorities in the Russian Poland, each gmina had to run books named księgi. Księgi ludności stałej, it's in Polish, so the books of people's registration, and in most cases the books cover the years from the 1890 to the 30s of 20th century, and these documents are kept in the state archives, of course, but it depends, of course, as always. all depend what which town, which village your ancestor came from, because for some places you can find this source, but for many places nothing can do it. The next question about Bytów area. Personally, I haven't worked on the sources from Bytów area, but I can imagine that there are the same collections like for other places from German Poland. So for Bytów you can find vital records, and the core documents that you are asking for also should be kept in the state archive. In Germany, there were the most important court office named the lower district court. Yes, in bigger places, in bigger towns, you can find the lower district court, and and in these collections of lower district courts, you can find the Grundbuchen, so land records for different places. So as for the Bytów, you need to determine which lower district court it belonged, and then check in the Polish archival database if any documentation is endured, and if so, with which archives. I recommend using the Meyex Gazetteer. It's a very helpful database that showing which parish, Roman Catholic, Lutheran, and which civil registry office and which lower district court a place in former German Poland endured. So then it is easier to check the proper documents. Okay, let's check other questions. Michał, maybe you will describe, tell us something more about the procedure, and I will try to find some new questions.
We have here a question about DNA, ancestry kits.
Okay.
I don't know whether you want to take this one, or should I?
Yes, I can answer briefly. Generally, yes, you can order DNA kits from US to Poland, but yes, in Poland there is no company that offering the DNA kit. So yes, you need to order a kit from the US and next send back to US and and finally you can see the results in the website. It's a question about the state and national archive. Generally, the Polish name for the archives is the state archive, but we have one place with the named Archiwum Narodowe, so National Archive, and it is located in Kraków. All the archives are the state archives officially, and this one in Kraków is named the National Archives.
Yeah, this question is for me. I was born in the US in 1950. Parents were born in US already. It seems to me that if your grandparents were married already in Chicago in 1907, it probably means that they came to they definitely were in the US by that time, before 1920, but perhaps, as Michał mentioned, in some cases they were just going back and forth. So I would first see whether they remained in the US, because then the emigration before 1920, which we discussed at the beginning of this session, would be in place, or whether perhaps they went back for some time to Poland, and then we could perhaps check some records here.
Yes. We have a few minutes yet, so feel free to ask any more question.
I see John added that they emigrated in 1891 and 1906. So yeah, then we have those pre-1920 rules, and you would have a harder time proving first their domicile in one of the partition empires, and then that they reported to the consul.
I saw one question about the originating of the surname Chi, or yes, is the name Cicha Polish or German? So it seems to me that it sounds like the Polish surname. Cicha means quiet. So I think that we may assume that Cichy is a Polish surname, but of course I imagine that there could be people from other countries located nearby Poland, like from Slovakia, from Ukraine, from Belarus, for example, that where the surname of Tichy could be also in use. As for the other websites, I encourage you to see our our YouTube channel, the channel for Your Roots in Poland, where my colleagues tell about the Polish about the genealogical Polish databases that are helpful in your own research. So please follow us on our YouTube channel, and you can see our previous films, previous webinars when we describes how to start and where to look the documents and what kind of websites you can use in your research. Okay.
Yeah, so we will be ending our session shortly, and we would like to encourage you to, if you are interested, of course, in Polish citizenship, to fill out our survey on our website. The address is survey.yourrootsinpoland.com, but you can also access it directly from our homepage that Michał mentioned at the beginning of our session. So this is yourrootsinpoland.com. You can access by Polish citizenship and then survey. Answer a low number of questions about your ancestors, and then we will contact you with the free eligibility check, eligibility for the procedure, and document analysis.
Yes, and of course, Christmas is coming, so we encourage you to see our website, see our offers. We offer the Xmas vouchers that can be used for both genealogical or both for citizenship projects. So so feel free to visit our websites and to find information about our vouchers, and of course we encourage you to buy vouchers, and then we could help you in your family research or research for procedure.
This will be the great gift for everybody that is interested in tracing their genealogy, or perhaps interested in embarking on adventure with Polish citizenship, or just a very nice surprise gift to get somebody hooked on genealogy.